Ever get that feeling? Like you're trying to get a super smart, but maybe kind of clueless assistant to lend a hand, but it feels like they're just not getting what you need.
Yeah, it's a common experience people have with AI these days. You keep hearing all this buzz about it, maybe even dipped your toes in using it, but to really unlock its potential, well, it's less about being some tech whiz and more about how you communicate with it.
So like learning how to speak AI.
Yeah, kinda. You're giving instructions to this superpowered, slightly literal genie.
Yeah.
And if you're not precise with your wishes, well, you might not get what you hoped for.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's exactly what we're diving deep into today, right? This whole world of prompts and how to use them effectively to get AI to really work for us.
Exactly. We've been pouring over a mountain of info on this very topic. We're going to unpack what prompt design and prompt engineering actually mean, why everyone's making such a fuss about them, and most importantly, how anyone, even if you're not a coder, can use these techniques to their advantage.
Awesome. So no prior tech degree required. This deep dive is for everyone.
Absolutely. Our mission here is straightforward. We want to equip you with a clear, practical understanding of how to really harness AI's power through effective prompting. Think of it as a crash course in a skill that's becoming more and more vital every day. We want you to have the know-how to make AI a valuable partner in whatever you're working on.
So let's break it down. What exactly is a prompt in this context?
Put simply, a prompt is the way you kickstart communication with an AI. It's the input, the instructions, the thing you give it to perform a task or give you a response. Think about it like asking a coworker for info or handing them a specific job.
So if I ask an AI to write a birthday card for my mom, that's a prompt.
You got it. Or if you ask it to summarize a long research paper.
Yeah.
Or even something fun like compose a poem about your pet goldfish.
It's using everyday language, the way we talk to each other, but to interact with a machine.
Yeah, exactly. You start with a little text, your prompt, and then you might ask the AI to elaborate on it, revise it, do something with it.
Okay, I'm with you. The prompt is like the starting point of your AI conversation. But then we have all these other terms that get thrown around. Prompt design, prompt engineering. What's the deal with those?
Good question. Prompt design is all about being deliberate and thoughtful. Really thinking through what you want the AI to do and then structuring your request in a clear, organized way.
Kind of like when you need to ask someone a favor, you think about the best way to phrase it so they're more likely to help.
Exactly. If you design your prompt well, the AI has a much better chance of understanding what you need right off the bat.
So it's about asking nicely, but also structuring the request in a way that makes sense to the AI.
You got it. It's about being clear and intentional to get better, more accurate results.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So prompt design is being thoughtful about how we phrase our requests. And prompt engineering, that sounds a bit more intense.
Prompt engineering does take it a step further. You're right. It's more about actively experimenting and tweaking your instructions. You might add specific details, background info, even play around with the tone of voice to really optimize how the AI performs and the quality of its output.
So you're not just asking, you're finessing and refining those requests to squeeze out the absolute best results.
Bingo. It often involves going back and forth, trying a prompt, seeing what the AI spits out, then refining your prompt based on those results to steer it closer to what you had in mind.
Yeah.
It's like giving someone directions to a place they've never been. You start with a basic address, but then you throw in those extra details. Turn left at the big oak tree. Look for the house with the red door.
Right, those little extra bits of info that make all the difference. So prompt design is like planning the route, and prompt engineering is adding all those specific landmarks along the way.
Perfect analogy. And the really wild part is that using natural language in prompts, well, it's basically becoming a new form of programming, but one that's way more accessible for folks who aren't coders. It's like you're speaking the AI's language.
That's a pretty huge shift. It puts the power of AI into more people's hands, right?
Exactly. You don't need to be fluent in some crazy code to use these tools anymore. But why is being skilled at this, at crafting good prompts, so important?
Yeah, like why should I care?
Well, think of AI, especially those large language models everyone's talking about. Like they have a ton of knowledge, but they're also super literal. They rely heavily on the exact wording of your prompts to figure out what you're asking.
So no reading between the lines. If I'm vague, I can't expect a clear answer.
Exactly. A well-crafted prompt acts as a detailed roadmap, guiding the AI to that specific info or output you're after. If you don't give clear instructions, well, you might get answers that are totally off topic, maybe even factually wrong, or just not what you're looking for at all.
So it's like giving someone bad directions. They might end up miles away from their destination.
Exactly. And that's why prompt engineering is so important. It's that crucial bridge connecting us everyday users with the power of AI. It makes this advanced technology practical, even if we don't have a deep technical background.
You don't need to be a computer scientist to use AI effectively. You just need to be a good communicator.
You got it. And think about all the different things AI can do these days. Writing marketing copy, answering tricky research questions, even helping you compose music. The quality of your prompt has a huge impact on how well AI performs any of those tasks.
So if I get really good at this, I could unlock some seriously impressive results from AI. Kind of like using the best ingredients in a recipe. Better input equals a better final dish, right?
Exactly. You're thinking along the right lines. Plus, clear prompts don't just get you better quality, they also mean getting those results faster. The AI is way more likely to get what you're after on the first try, which saves you tons of time and effort going back and forth. No more endlessly rephrasing your questions, trying to get the AI to understand what you mean.
And time is precious, right? So becoming a prompt engineer isn't just a neat trick. It can seriously boost your productivity, both in your personal life and at work.
You got it. And that's the key takeaway here. We're talking about giving you the skills to make AI a truly powerful and efficient tool for you.
Okay, I'm sold. We get what prompts are and why crafting them well is essential. Let's talk about the nuts and bolts. What makes up a really good prompt? Are there certain components or ingredients that make it shine?
Think of it like a recipe, right? You need the right ingredients to make something delicious. And the most basic ingredient in a prompt is the core task or instruction. It's the heart of your request, what you fundamentally want the AI to do.
Give me some examples. I'm a visual learner.
Sure thing. Think about simple things like, what are 3 benefits of daily exercise? Or write a short paragraph summarizing the plot of the latest superhero movie. Or compose a haiku about a blooming sunflower. That core task sets the stage.
So it's like the main verb and the object of the sentence. It tells the AI what to do. What comes next?
The next key ingredient, contextual information. Now, this one isn't always necessary, but it can be incredibly valuable. Context gives the AI those extra details it needs to really understand your request. This leads to answers that are more relevant and hit exactly what you're looking for.
How would I add context to a prompt?
Let's say you're asking the AI to analyze a sales report. Instead of just saying, analyze this report, you could say, analyze the sales report for the last quarter, focusing specifically on the performance of our new product line in the Asian market. See how those extra details give the AI more to work with.
It's like giving someone the background info before asking for their opinion.
Exactly. It helps the AI narrow its focus and understand the precise angle you're interested in.
Okay, makes sense. What else can we sprinkle into our prompt recipe to make it extra delicious?
Especially when you're chatting with an AI, there are these things called system instructions. They're like the initial ground rules you set at the very beginning. You're telling the AI how you want it to behave, the tone you're going for.
So it's like telling it how to act, like be polite, be helpful, be funny.
You got it.
Yeah.
You might say something like, you are a friendly and helpful tutor. Or respond in the style of a research paper, concise and factual. Or even act as a brainstorming partner, throwing out wild, unconventional ideas. These instructions make a big difference in how the AI interacts with you. If you tell it to act like a tutor, it's more likely to explain things clearly and maybe even ask you clarifying questions to make sure you're following along.
Wow, that's really interesting. It's like giving the AI a specific personality or role to play in the conversation.
Precisely. Another ingredient we can use is examples, sometimes called few-shot learning. This is super helpful for those tricky, nuanced tasks, or when you have a very specific look or feel you want in the output. You essentially give the AI a couple of examples to show it what a good or correct response looks like.
Okay, how does that work?
Let's say you want the AI to write product descriptions, but you have a certain template and tone in mind. You could give it a few examples of well-written product descriptions that follow that style before you ask it to write a new one.
So it learns by looking at those examples I provide. That's pretty clever.
Right. It's like showing an artist a couple of paintings in the style you like before commissioning a new piece.
I get it. Okay, is there anything else we should be thinking about when crafting our prompts?
One thing that people often overlook but can be super useful, being crystal clear about the output format you want. Actually specifying that within the prompt itself.
So telling it how I want the information presented, like in bullet points, a paragraph, a table.
Exactly. Instead of just saying, tell me about, you'd say something like, list the top 5. Or present your findings in a numbered list. Or organize this data into a table with columns for X, Y, and Z. Being specific about the format saves you from having to spend time reformatting the response yourself.
Okay, so if I need a quick side-by-side comparison, asking for a table makes it much easier to digest the information at a glance.
Exactly. It just makes everything more efficient. So to summarize, a really effective prompt often has a clear core task, helpful contextual information, maybe some system instructions to set the tone, a few illustrative examples to guide the output, and a clear request for how you want the information presented.
Wow, that was a lot, but I think I'm getting it. Understanding those pieces definitely makes me feel a lot more confident about creating prompts that'll actually get me the results I'm looking for.
You're getting it. And honestly, the more you practice, the more it'll just become second nature. You'll start thinking about how to structure your requests to get the best out of these AI tools.
Okay, so we've got the fundamentals down, the why, the what, the key ingredients. Now, how do we actually put all this together? Are there certain approaches or structures that are particularly helpful, especially when you're just starting out?
Absolutely. There are a few basic prompt structures that are super useful to have in your back pocket. One of the simplest is the question-based prompt. You're literally just asking the AI a direct question to get information.
Like what we were talking about before, what's the capital of France?
Exactly. Or what are the main causes of climate change? It's a pretty intuitive approach because it's how we naturally ask for information in our daily lives.
Makes sense. So question prompts are great for getting info. What about when I want the AI to actually do something, not just answer a question?
That's where instruction-based or task-oriented prompts come in. Here, you're giving the AI specific instructions to perform a task.
Okay, give me some examples of those.
Sure. You could say, write a compelling opening paragraph for a blog post about the benefits of meditation. Or summarize the key findings of this scientific study in 5 bullet points. Or even translate this English sentence into Spanish. These prompts show how AI can go beyond simply providing information. It can actually create or process content based on what you tell it to do.
Question prompts for information, instruction prompts for taking action. Got it. But what about when I want to provide all that important background context we were talking about earlier?
That brings us to context-based prompts.
Yeah.
You're essentially giving the AI some relevant background or context before you ask a question or give an instruction. It's all about setting the stage for the AI, so to speak.
So like painting the picture before you ask the question.
Exactly. Let's say you're using AI to help you write a customer service email. You might start by saying, a customer has emailed us complaining that their recent order hasn't arrived. Their order number is 12345. Knowing this, please draft a polite email apologizing for the delay and explaining that their order is currently in transit and expected to arrive tomorrow. See how that gives the AI the full picture?
Okay. Now it can write a much more specific and helpful response instead of just a generic sorry for the delay message.
Exactly. And by providing that context up front, the AI has a much better chance of crafting a truly helpful and personalized response.
Got it. Context equals more relevant answers. What other types of prompts are there?
We've also got analogy-based prompts. These can be super handy for explaining those tricky, abstract concepts by comparing them to something more concrete and relatable.
Using analogies to teach AI, that's pretty clever.
Right. It's a great way to make those complex topics click. For example, if you're trying to understand a new scientific concept, you might ask the AI, explain quantum entanglement, using an analogy to how 2 coins, no matter how far apart, can be linked so that flipping one instantly affects the other. It helps the AI break down those tough ideas into something more digestible.
That's a great way to make something complex a little easier to understand. And earlier you mentioned something about giving the AI a specific role to play.
Yep. And that leads us to role-playing prompts. This is where you explicitly ask the AI to put on a particular hat or step into a specific role when answering your questions.
Right, like that marketing expert we talked about for brainstorming slogans.
Exactly. Imagine you say, you're a financial advisor. Based on this market data, what are the most promising investment opportunities for someone in their 30s with a moderate risk tolerance? When you ask the AI to take on a role, it encourages it to draw on a different set of knowledge and perspectives, which can lead to some pretty insightful answers.
This is so cool. I'm starting to see how structuring prompts in these different ways can make such a huge difference in the results I get from AI.
And honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As you become more familiar with these basic structures, you'll naturally start mixing and matching, tailoring them to your own unique needs and projects.
This is already so helpful. Seeing these different structures really demystifies the process. It makes it feel less like a guessing game and more like I'm having a real conversation with the AI.
Exactly. It's all about learning the language of effective communication with AI. And the more you practice, the more fluent you'll become.
So we've covered the basics, the different types of prompts and why they're important. Now let's see these ideas in action. Can we look at some specific examples that show the difference between a prompt that works well and one that falls flat?
Of course, looking at concrete examples is a fantastic way to make this stuff really stick. Let's start with something creative, like writing a story. A poor, vague prompt might just be, write a story.
Right, that's super open-ended. The AI could go in a million different directions, and it might not be anything like what I had in mind.
Exactly. Now compare that to a much more effective prompt. Write a short science fiction story, about 250 words, set on a deserted spaceship drifting through a nebula. The story should focus on the astronaut's struggle to stay sane and end with a hint of unexpected discovery.
Wow, the difference is huge. That effective prompt gives the AI so much more to work with. The genre, length, setting, even the mood and theme.
Right. It's like giving the AI a detailed blueprint instead of just a vague sketch.
Okay, I'm seeing the power of the extra details. Let's try another one. Maybe something more practical, like summarizing information.
Good idea.
Huh.
A weak prompt for that might be, summarize this article. Again, super broad and doesn't give the AI much direction, but a much stronger prompt would be, summarize the key arguments and supporting evidence presented in this research paper, aiming for a summary that's about 100 words and uses bullet points.
Okay, yeah, that second prompt is way better. It not only tells the AI what to do, but also tells it how long the summary should be and how to structure it using bullet points.
Exactly. By setting those clear parameters and specifying the format, you make the output more organized, easier to read, and just more useful overall. It turns a potentially long, rambling summary into a clear, concise set of key takeaways.
Love it. Let's do one more, maybe something about generating ideas.
Sure. A weak prompt for that might be just, give me some ideas. Again, super vague and likely to result in pretty generic suggestions. But a more effective prompt would be, imagine you are a marketing consultant. Brainstorm at least 5 innovative marketing strategies for a new online course that teaches people how to code. The target audience is young adults aged 18 to 25 who are looking for career advancement opportunities.
Right. That second prompt gives the AI so much more to go on. It tells it who it's pretending to be, a marketing consultant, what the product is, and who they're trying to reach.
Exactly. By assigning a role and providing key details about the product and target audience, the AI can generate much more focused and potentially game-changing ideas. It's not just throwing darts in the dark. It's using all that information to give you tailored solutions.
Okay, I'm totally convinced. These examples are awesome. It's like the AI transforms from a helpful but clueless intern into a super focused strategic partner when we give it the right instructions. So based on these examples and everything we've talked about, are there some overarching golden rules we should keep in mind when writing prompts, like the secret sauce to make any prompt better?
Absolutely. There are definitely some core principles that are essential for effective prompting, no matter what you're trying to achieve. And the first, maybe the most important one, is clarity. You want your instructions to be crystal clear and easy for the AI to understand. Think about it like you're explaining your request to someone who knows nothing about the topic.
So straightforward language, no jargon, no super complicated sentences.
You got it. The next crucial principle is specificity. Remember those examples. The more details you give the AI, the better it can understand exactly what you want and give you a targeted response. Tell it the desired format, the length, the style, anything you can think of.
The more details, the better. Got it.
Another key principle is providing enough context. You need to give the AI enough background information so it truly gets what you're asking. This helps it craft answers that are not just accurate, but truly aligned with your goals and the specific situation.
It's like setting the scene for the AI so it can understand the bigger picture.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to really paint the picture and set the stage for the AI to do its magic. And remember, iteration is your friend. You're probably not going to write the perfect prompt on the first try, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Be ready to experiment, add details, tweak things based on the AI's initial responses. It's a learning process, a constant back and forth to refine your approach.
So it's okay to tinker and refine, see what works best.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and experiment a bit. Finally, don't forget about setting boundaries. Tell the AI not only what you do want, but also what you don't want, what to avoid or leave out. This can be just as important as the other stuff because it keeps the AI focused and prevents it from wandering off on tangents.
Oh, that's a really good point. Sometimes telling the AI what not to do is just as important as telling it what to do.
Absolutely. Think of it like adding those no trespassing signs around your creative playground. You're guiding the AI towards the areas you want it to explore, while clearly marking off the ones you want it to avoid.
Love that analogy. So, to sum up our golden rules, we want to be clear, be specific, provide context, embrace the process of trying things out, and set those boundaries. I'm starting to feel like a prompt writing pro already.
You're well on your way. These principles are like your trusty compass and map, guiding you towards crafting prompts that'll unlock the true magic of AI.
This is awesome. We've got the theory, the big picture, the golden rules. Now, hit me with some practical, down-to-earth tips that anyone can use right now to start writing better prompts. What tools should we have in our prompting toolkit?
Great question. One of the best tips for beginners. Don't overcomplicate things. Start with simple requests and gradually increase the complexity as you get more comfortable. You don't have to write some crazy, intricate prompt right off the bat. Just dip your toes in and see what happens.
Start simple, build confidence, then level up. I like it. What else?
Another great tip. Use strong action verbs to tell the AI exactly what you want it to do. Instead of saying talk about or mention, be more direct. Use words like write, summarize, analyze, compare, create, or explain. Those strong verbs leave less room for interpretation.
Strong verbs for clear instructions. Got it. Any other pro tips to add to our arsenal?
If you need the output in a specific format or length, tell the AI that. Don't be shy about being specific. Whether you need a summary under a certain word count, an answer in a numbered list, or data in a table, putting those requirements right in the prompt will save you time and hassle later.
So if I want a short, punchy 3-sentence overview of a topic, I should specifically say, provide a 3-sentence overview.
Exactly. It leaves no room for ambiguity. And if you're creating content for a specific audience, mention that in your prompt too. This helps the AI tailor its language and style to be more effective for those particular readers.
So if I'm writing for experts versus writing for beginners, I should tell the AI who I'm writing for so it can adjust its style accordingly.
Exactly. The AI can adapt its tone and complexity to match the audience, just like a good human writer would.
Brilliant. It's all about giving the AI the information it needs to give me exactly what I want.
You're getting it. And remember, don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with different ways of phrasing your prompts. Sometimes even a small change in wording can make a big difference in the results.
So try things out, see what sticks, and get creative with my language. I like it.
You got it. Embrace that spirit of experimentation. And finally, for those tasks you find yourself doing over and over, consider creating or using pre-made prompt templates.
Like a fill-in-the-blanks Mad Libs for my AI prompts.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to streamline your workflow and ensure consistency in your interactions with AI. You could always tweak and adjust the template as needed, but having that solid starting point can save you a ton of time and effort.
I love that idea. It's like having those go-to recipes that you know always turn out well. Okay, so to recap our practical tips. Start simple. Use strong verbs. Be specific about length and format. Tell the AI who your audience is. Be open to playing around with wording. And embrace the power of templates for those recurring tasks.
Wow, this is a seriously valuable toolkit. I feel much more equipped to navigate the world of prompts now.
And that's the whole point. We want to equip you with the skills and confidence to use these AI tools effectively and to your advantage. It's all about making AI work for you. This deep dive has been seriously insightful. It's clear that prompt design and engineering are not just some niche skill for techies, but a fundamental skill that anyone can learn and benefit from.
Exactly. By understanding how to craft clear, specific, and context-rich prompts, you're unlocking a whole new world of possibilities. Whether you're trying to boost your personal productivity, drive innovation at work, or simply explore creative ideas, the ability to communicate effectively with AI is a game changer.
It's not just about giving orders to a machine, it's about understanding how to tap into the potential of this incredible technology and use it to enhance our own capabilities.
Absolutely. And as AI keeps advancing and becoming even more integrated into our lives, mastering this skill is going to be more and more crucial. It's an investment in your future.
So as you start experimenting with AI and all it can do, I want you to consider this. How might the ability to articulate your thoughts and requests to an AI change not just how you use technology, but how you solve problems and express yourself creatively? What new doors could this open for you?
It's an exciting time to be exploring these possibilities.
It sure is. And as always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.